Good morning, Denny. It is Monday, December 28th, and I would like to tell you why I, Parker, should be the next guest host on the Vlogbrothers podcast, Dear Hank and John, or as I prefer to call it, Dear Parker and Hank. Because, John Green's inevitably going to go back on tour, and they're going to need someone to fill that place. And I might not be a famous YouTuber, I might not be an award-winning young author, but I am here. So that's something. So to start things off, I was a soccer manager in high school for 3 years, and I'm very enthusiastic about the sport. I once woke up from 5:15 a.m. and stayed and managed soccer till 7:15 at night. I was usually the first one there, last one to leave, and the guy who turned off the stadium lights. I mean, what more commitment do you want to the sport of football than that? I mean, I was a hard worker, and I know the sport of soccer, so I could tell you all the news from AFC Wimbledon. I can also tell you why it's exciting when a game has a 0-0 draw. But on to my next point. I am pretentious when it comes to poetry. As you saw last week, I know my short poems, and I really enjoy one. And I can even quote Elton John lyrics, like some of the previous guests on Dear Hank and John. Or I could go for Robert Frost. Really, it's up to you. I give dubious advice. No one comes to me for advice, but when I do, I usually tell them the wrong thing. Yeah, that might not be the best quality of mine, but that's part of the podcast, dubious advice giving, and I can give dubious advice. Reason number 4 why I'd be perfect for the Dear Parker and Hank podcast would be I'm great at making up random sponsors. Today's podcast is brought to you by interesting 0-0 draws in soccer. Today's podcast is brought to you by dirty blonde hair. I don't know. We'll work on that. And I'm excellent at what we learned today. Today we learned that Parker cannot think of dubious advice, yet he's really good at giving it, apparently. What have we learned today? We have learned that Parker was a soccer manager for 3 years and may or may not have hated that job. What have we learned? We learned no one comes to Parker with their problems, and that's okay. Denny, this was just a day fantasy of mine that I don't know, somehow would win Nerd Factor, if you remember that, for Vlogbrothers. And I feel like since paternity leave is no longer a thing for Vlogbrothers, I thought this would be my closest shot to working with one of the Green brothers. And I doubt anyone will take this seriously, but hey, if your name is Hank or John Green, I could be your podcaster. This podcast is brought to you by Parker's inability to wink. I will see you tomorrow. DFTBA, stay super. Bye.